Rise and Rule of Ancient Empires is a strategy game from 1996 by Impression Games and published by Sierra Online. It was out right during the craze of Grand 4X strategy games following Civilization II by only 18 days. But unlike the Sid Meier's title, this one barely left a scratch on the collective mind and is a forgotten title at best nowadays. It is just like Civilization that stays in ancient time. You'll get to pick between 7 civilizations, with each one having their own personalities but no real bonus outside of that, but we'll get back to that a little bit later. The gameplay is identical to Civilization 2 at the start. You begin with the lone settler and you build your first city, and this is where the divergence begins. Because once the city is built, you'll need to use sliders to dictate how you will use the resources, and rather than exploiting titles or trying to find a good place, every settlement have exactly the same control. With those sliders you will dictate if you want more food, more research, more labor, or more resource extraction in each settlement. And you'll get some feedback on how these settlements are reacting. For example, if you're getting a lot of food, you will get a population growth. And if you have more research, then you'll exploit that research. The research too is a bit different than Civilization. Here we have a settlement by settlement basis, and we have a similar slider to decide which of the 5 fields of research we are exploiting. And each element will have its own unique development in these fields, which will allow for different buildings to be built, which allows consequentially for different units to be built in each element. And once you reach the max into each research, you can build a unique building to your civilization that honestly I have no clue what bonus it gives, because there's no indication in the game once it's built. You'll also need to build soldiers, just like any good 4X game. And each civilization here also has its own preferences on the soldiers. For example, the Chinese civilization love the infantry, the Acadians love the cavalry, and the Egyptians have an affection for the archers. And the Greeks love the philosophers, which is kind of weird, because we have some civilian units in this game. For example, the merchant can be used to trade between cities for food, so you can help out a starving settlement with a more rich settlement, help out the empire to grow faster and more steadily. While the philosopher is a little bit different, it is not a military unit. It can be used to cultivate the land around a settlement, or to build roads between settlements, or to, a little bit more like the merchant, set a route between 2 cities to trade research. But to be honest, it kind of feels useless, because the roads themselves do give some movement bonus for the units, but cultivation of the field, I have absolutely no clue if it brings anything, as I'm not able to discern any distinction between cultivated field and uncultivated fields. And the AI in the game is kinda dumb. It will build a lot of units, a lot of settlements, and they will always send a single army of a couple of units to attack non-stop. It does get redundant quickly. A good strategy to fight them is also to share a large expansion of the realm with a lot of cities to support very large armies, which in itself also gets annoying rapidly, because managing each settlement is a pain in the ass. There is a good alternative though. You can set the game to autopilot, where the AI will take over your settlement, and I did get a lot of enjoyment just setting my own civilization on autopilot and watching it a little bit like a movie to see how quickly it can expand and conquer the rest of the planet, which kind of never happens because the AI is too dumb to set up proper invasions. The graphics on their end are quite good looking for a 1996 title. It looks kind of like the Civilization's line of product, and each civilization will have their own sprite for each unit, which give for a quick glance at the map and easy discernation between troops and legions. In the sound category though, the music is exceptional here. We have a great melody unique to each culture, all made by Keith Zisa. Yeah, the same composer from my previously reviewed game from Impressions, Lord of the Realm, which had terrible music. But in this instance, released a mere 2 years later, the quality of the soundtrack is incredible. Here are a few goodies for you. Incredible work indeed. And Keith followed it up for years with the series of city building games by Impression with their even more impressive soundtracks. Rise and Rule of Ancient Empires was a novel copy of a popular idea. Sadly, due to its complexity and boring gameplay, it died in the egg, which to be honest might simply be the best thing that could happen, knowing well what Impression put out a few years later. Still an interesting title that you could surely have plenty of fun if played exclusively in multiplayer. But with the complexity to simply run the title requiring a Windows 9X and setting up for a multiplayer game is kind of hard, so good luck running a multiplayer game at all. Hopefully you've enjoyed this quick review of Rise and Rule of Ancient Empires. I love the name though. But you should subscribe for more antiquated PC games review. And why not start right now with a much better title put out by Impressions. Thanks for watching and see you next time.